In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 best Ferrari cars in the world. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for the future updates. Let's start today's video. Ferrari is one of the automotive world's most evocative names. The Italian car maker is synonymous with motorsport, Formula One in particular, and it has also built some of the world's finest road-going sports cars. Enzo Ferrari founded Scuderia Ferrari in 1929 purely as a racing team, and achieved great success running Alfa Romeo Grand Prix cars, including a stint as the official Works Alfa squad. But Enzo parted ways with Alfa in the late 1930s to build his own racing cars under the Scuderia name. However, after the Second World War, Ferrari needed help raising funds to go racing, so he finally started building road cars to help fund his racing team in the late 1940s. 1. Ferrari LaFerrari. On paper, the Ferrari LaFerrari is considered the successor to the Ferrari Enzo. In reality, the two exotics share little in common with each other. By virtue of its stature as the first ever car from Maranello to use a hybrid drive system, the LaFerrari's place in Ferrari lore is secure. It's a technological masterpiece, created in part to showcase Ferrari's many hats as an automaker. The aforementioned high-curve system is drawn from the company's expertise in Formula One, combining Ferrari's thunderous 6.3-liter V12 engine and a pair of electric motors to produce a total output of 963 horsepower and 663 pound-feet of torque. The LaFerrari also has its own suspension system, which Ferrari designed specifically for the supercar. The $1 million LaFerrari is the youngest car on this list, but make no mistake, it deserves its place in this list. 2. Ferrari 365 GTB/4 Daytona. 1968 Ferrari 365 GTB/4 and GTS/4 Daytona exterior. Image 727,002. Considered as one of the most beloved Ferraris of all time, the 365 GTB/4 has become more desirable with the test of time. The 365 GTB/4 arrived in 1968 at a time when Ferrari had just gotten blasted at the 24 Hours of Le Mans by Ford. It didn't help that, at the same time, Lamborghini was starting to make waves with its sexy mid-engine supercar, the Miura. Ferrari needed to respond to the growing threats in its surroundings, and it responded with this stunner. With Pininfarina penning the car, the 365 GTB/4 was a Ferrari unlike anything the automaker had built at that time. It adopted a more angular design that accurately previewed the styling trends of the 1970s, though not necessarily in line with other Ferrari models that came before it. Ferrari gambled that the 365 GTB/4 would bring glory back to Maranello, and the car did just that, winning its share of high-profile races, including a 1-2-3 victory at the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona that earned the car its unofficial Daytona nickname. Only 1,406 Ferrari 365 GTB/4s were built, and the model has since become a high-valued item among Ferrari collectors. 3. Ferrari Dino 246. The Ferrari Dino 246 is historical for a number of reasons. It's one of the few cars that Ferrari built that doesn't carry the automaker's iconic prancing horse badge. That distinction is largely due to the Dino's other distinction as the first Ferrari to feature a smaller V6 engine. The Dino first arrived in 1968 with a 2.0-liter V6 engine, hence its Dino 206 GT nomenclature. From there, the Dino evolved into a model that carried a 2.4-liter V6, becoming the model we know today as the Dino 246. Ferrari pictured the Dino as its answer to the Porsche 911, and while the sub-brand itself didn't last long, the Dino nameplate, which founder Enzo Ferrari dedicated to his son, Dino, has become one of the most sought-after Ferraris all of them. It also helps that when you ask people to identify the sexiest looking Ferrari of all time, the Dino get a good amount of mentions. 4. Ferrari F40. Very few cars, no matter who built it, can lay claim to the title of greatest supercar of all time. It's a testament to Ferrari's stature that it has a few models that can make a case for that title, including the incomparable F40 supercar. Launched in 1987, the F40 was designed to celebrate the Italian automaker's 40th anniversary. It also happens to be the last car approved by Enzo Ferrari before his death. Provenance aside, the F40 featured a body that was made from a combination of aluminum, carbon fiber, and Kevlar. It was also equipped with a 2.9-liter twin-turbo V8 engine that produced 471 horsepower. It didn't have the fanciest of interiors, its only luxury amenity is air conditioning. And it wasn't the most engaging Ferrari to drive. None of that mattered, though, because the F40's reputation was cemented the moment Ferrari launched in '87. It was, and still is, one of the most important models in Ferrari's history. Fast forward to this year, and you're not getting an F40 for anything less than $1 million. 5 Ferrari 125S. The Ferrari 125S is one of the most famous Ferraris of all time. It's also one of the most controversial Ferraris of all time. Those labels are usually in line with a car that's widely regarded as the first ever model to wear a Ferrari badge. The 125S is basically history on 4 wheels. So why is controversial? Well, even if it is the first car to wear the Ferrari badge, it's not actually the first car that Ferrari founder Enzo Ferrari. That distinction belongs to the AAC 815, a model Ferrari built the Auto Avio Costruzioni, his aircraft component production company. As historical as the 815 is in its own right, it's still not a Ferrari the way the 125S is. Only 2 models of the 125S were built. Ferrari's friend and collaborator, Gioacchino Colombo, penned the car's design. It also featured a 1.5-liter V12 engine that produced 118 horsepower. Okay, so it's not the most powerful Ferrari in the world, but the provenance behind this model is undebatable. Unfortunately, both 125S models are no longer around in their original states, they were dismantled, and their parts were reportedly reused in the production of the Ferrari 166. The car's history took another turn when one of the 125S models was resurrected after its chassis was allegedly found on a 166. Still, there's been a lot of debate about the 125S chassis authenticity, prompting a lot of Ferrari collectors to regard the original 125 as an extinct car. 6 Ferrari Testarossa. An entire generation of car enthusiasts can attest to the fact that their childhood bedrooms had a poster of the Ferrari Testarossa. The iconic Ferrari was never the most powerful Ferrari in history. It certainly wasn't the fastest, either. But it's arguably the one Ferrari that has had the most cultural impact of any Ferrari model ever made. Designed by Pininfarina, the Testarossa was stunning in every angle. Its sleek front section is iconic, and the signature side strakes became so popular that it ushered in its own revolution in the aftermarket tuning scene. At the back, the Testarossa featured a 5.0-liter flat 12 engine that produced 390 horsepower and 361 pound-feet of torque. The car's power figures were impressive at the time, but the Testarossa's legacy extends well beyond its own capabilities. The supercar became a cultural icon, in part because of its starring role in the arcade game Outrun and its appearance in the 3rd to 5th seasons of Miami Vice. For a car that doesn't qualify in the list of 10 most powerful or 10 fastest Ferraris of all time, the Testarossa's role in turning Ferrari into a globally recognized brand has yet to be duplicated. It's not a surprise that the Testarossa's popularity helped Ferrari sell almost 10,000 units of the model, making it one of the most mass-produced Ferraris of all time. 7 Ferrari Enzo. For the most part, Ferrari has found a way to coexist with a lot of supercar brands these days. But there once was a time when Maranello was the undisputed king of the market, which, in turn, led to its castle being attacked by the likes of Lamborghini, Porsche, and even Mercedes-Benz. That occurred at the dawn of the new millennium, and ever proud, Ferrari responded in kind with a car that was named after its founder. And so, the Ferrari Enzo was born. In hindsight, the Enzo wasn't just about Ferrari flexing its muscle on the competition. It was an important model, and it still is today, but its importance wasn't appreciated until later on, in large part because of how influential its design became in shaping Ferrari's future design architecture. The Enzo's sharp and angular look still resonates to this day. Beyond its looks, the Enzo was also the first Ferrari that was fully wrapped up in Formula One technology. It had a carbon fiber body, an F1-style electro-hydraulic shift transmission, and carbon fiber reinforced silicon carbide ceramic composite disc brakes. It also featured an F1-derived 6.0-liter V12 engine that produced 660 horsepower and 485 pound-feet of torque. The Enzo's life only lasted 2 years. It was produced in 2002 and lasted until 2004, but to this day, it's still regarded as one of the most influential Ferraris of all time. a status that fits a model whose name is forever linked to the man who started Ferrari in the first place. 8 Ferrari 308 GTS. Some people don't have the Ferrari 308 GTS on their list of 10 best Ferraris of all time. That's fine. When you're talking about a massive list of cars spanning 70 years, there will be some debates along the way. But we include the 308 GTS on our list because it embodies a lot of the elements we love about the prancing horse. The 308 GTS made its debut in 1977. It had big shoes to fill since it was replacing the iconic Dino 246 GT, another car that made it on our list. Looking back, the 308 GTS didn't disappoint. It featured one of the most distinctive designs of any Ferrari ever made, boasting a targa top that separated itself aesthetically from any other Ferrari in history. 9 Ferrari F355. The words Ferrari and elegant don't usually wind up in the same sentence, but if there is one Ferrari model where the word elegant can be used in glowing terms, it's the F355. Without question, the Ferrari F355 is one of the most elegant Ferraris ever built, a testament to Pininfarina's adaptability in designing cars that embrace their era. The F355 was Ferrari's follow-up to the 348, a car that featured plenty of styling cues from the Testarossa. In some ways, the F355's design has elements of the Testarossa, too, but in keeping with the times, Pininfarina simplified the F355's aesthetics, leaving the aggressive side strakes behind in favor of larger intakes and a flying buttress design that accentuated its sporty looks. 10 Ferrari 250 GTO. The Ferrari 250 GTO is the automotive equivalent of the Holy Grail. No car in Ferrari's history, and we mean no car, holds as much mystique and reverence as the 250 GTO. Part of the 250 GTO's mystique revolved around its capabilities when it was built. Forget about its looks and its appeal for a second. Back then, the 250 GTO was a road-going Ferrari that could show up on any racetrack and destroy the competition. That's how incredible the model was. Over the years, the 250 GTO has ascended to the top as the most desirable Ferrari in history. Part of its appeal revolved around its performance abilities, but another reason was its looks. The 250 GTO was, is, and will, probably, always be the most beautiful Ferrari model ever. Made. Come close to it. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.